Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully, as always, you're doing very, very well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel. The race is on to 30,000 subscribers, so please, if you haven't subbed, please do. Don't forget as well to like and share the vids. It really does help. All right, I did say this on the previous video, but you might not have watched that one, so I'll say it again. We are using a different camera, so it might look a bit different. For the last, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years, I did use this old Samsung S8, tried and trusted Samsung S8 to film with. And I thought, you know what, let me just use my S20, what I've had for a couple of years, I've never filmed with. So I haven't played around with the settings and the lighting on it, or the lighting in the studio, sorry. So it might look a bit different. Trust me, it has to look a bit better than this, surely. So yeah, we are using a different camera. And a lot of you guys actually do ask me, as I said in the video before, what I use to film with, and it's just this. Like, honestly, it is nothing fancy. It's weird because I've got loads of digital cameras here with me. I've got this one. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's probably not. Can you see that? Can you see that? Probably can, yeah. So I've got loads of these. But no, I just use, I use this. I don't know why. I'm just so used to doing it. But we are going to try with the Samsung S20 for a couple of videos and see what it's like. All right, you guys would have known if you watched me yesterday. I was on the DAZN broadcast. Thank you for all the messages and the support. That shit is hard. I can't lie to you. My heart is beating throughout that. It's very, obviously my heart's beating, but my heart's beating like more. If my heart wasn't beating, there'll be a problem. But my heart's beating more throughout that. But it's always good and fun to do. I actually enjoyed yesterday's card. The Polish in there made it special. That they really did. They were singing throughout. I'd say there's about 6,000 to 7,000 in there, which isn't bad for Sunday boxing, I don't think. Especially when you think the card didn't really have no big name on it. Yes, I know Lawrence Okolie is a world champion, but I think like big ticket sellers, Lawrence isn't that yet. He might, and fingers crossed he gets to that, but he's not that. So I was surprised by the turnout, but I did enjoy it. Let's go through it. We're not going to go through every fight in too much detail, but let's go through some. It was good to see Campbell Hatton again. Obviously he's been fighting, I think he fought in Spain. And did he fight in Austria? But I know he had a fight abroad or 2 fights maybe. He took on Joe Ducker. He needs to just slow down a bit, doesn't he? He needs to just calm down and look for his shots a bit more. I feel like everything is 100 miles per hour with him. And yeah, that's one thing that just needs to improve. Obviously, look, eventually he's going to improve, fingers crossed, on his technique and all that stuff. But for me, the most basic thing he needs to improve on is just slowing down. I almost feel like he just wants to impress the fans too much. I'd love to see, I guess actually we have seen him behind closed doors, but I just want him to pick his punches better. I thought it was a good stoppage. I thought the ref jumped in at the right time. I thought Joe Ducker was taking a beating from the very first round, to be honest with you. But yeah, take his time, sit on his punches a bit more. It doesn't have to be sort of 200 punches around. I mean, it really doesn't have to be that. But look, we'll see. I do look at him. I know he is ripped at the weigh-ins, so it's going to be difficult to get down to super feather. But I do wonder if there is sort of a time when they can maybe do a cut just to see if he can make the weight. Because I look at some of the lightweights just in this country, just in the world in general, and they're so much bigger than Campbell Hatton. So they might have to look at, see if they can bring him down to super feather. I know a lot of his recent opponents have been feathers and super feathers that have just blown themselves up to lightweight anyway. So he's not, I don't think he's yet actually fought a natural lightweight. So look, we'll see what they do with him. Fabio Wardley got the job done against Daniel Martz. Daniel Martz just didn't want to know, did he? It's embarrassing. Some of these fighters, like, I get it, it's prize fighting and you fight for money, but come on, man, have a go. He literally had a go for 30 seconds in the first round, got tagged and was like, oh, fuck this. Like, it was almost like, I'm getting paid 10 grand here. If I win, I'm getting 10. If I lose, I'm getting 10. Fuck it, give me 10. That's what it seemed like. For Fabio Wardley, he needs rounds. It's a weird, you look at Fabio Wardley, think of his last sort of 3 fights. Eric Molina, what's that, a couple of rounds? Nick Webb, a round, and now Daniel Martz, 2 rounds. He needs rounds, and they're going to need to, I think they're struggling to kind of understand where Fabio is. Again, Fabio is someone that's learning on the job. 12 fights in now, or 13 fights, I think it is, 12 or 13. Again, this is it, right? White collar to pros. And I feel like they don't know what the ceiling is. And because they don't know what they, like most fighters, okay, so an example would be Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois, Frank Warren will be thinking he's a world champion in the making. So you kind of, okay, these are the steps we need to take. I feel like with Fabio Wardley, no one knows what he's going to be. You have no idea if he's going to be a European level fighter or world level fighter. You have no idea. So because of that, they're struggling to find the opponents to pick or plot the route to where they want to go to. But they're clearly going to need to find better opponents than Daniel Martz. Either that or they find 4 or 5 Daniel Martz and he has sort of 17, 18 fights by the end of the year and then they move. But yeah, they're going to need to find better opponents because that guy was awful yesterday. I hate fighters like that. It's almost like when Eric Molina came over here and fought, who did he fight again? Alan Babbage. And he had a go. He landed one right hand, and after that, it was like, oh, fuck it. And that's what Daniel Martz has become. He's like fuck it. Honestly, awful. Anthony Fowler against Lucas at Masiek. Anthony Fowler's first fight at 160. I say 160. Once you go above it, you're 168. Remember, he came in at 163, 164 pounds. So really, it was a super middleweight fight. And he still looked ripped, which makes me wonder how the hell he got down to 154. Like, how? No idea. Looked okay. Again, he's dusting off the cobwebs from that fight against Liam Smith. So there was always going to be some hesitation, as there was, I feel like, in the middle rounds. But he got stronger as the fight went on, did Anthony Fowler. Started landing some really good shots. Like, he digged Masiek to the body a couple of times, and credit to the pole. I mean, those guys have made a stern stuff. Credit to him to keep on coming. The fight was delayed, by the way. I don't know if you guys were watching the broadcast, but Masiek had like a really big sponsor on the front of his chest. Like you've seen a lot of fighters do this. They let him have the one on the back, but the British Boxing Board of Control do not allow sponsors on the front, which is weird. I mean, you let it on the back of the front. What's the difference? So that must have cost Masiek a couple of grand, right? I mean, obviously that sponsor was wiped off. But yeah, back to the fight. I feel Anthony Fowler looked okay. I still think he looks quite stiff with his punches. He just wants to relax a bit more. But look, we'll see what he can do at 160 pounds. World level at 160 is frightening. It really is, let alone sort of British level. I mean, even British level's good. I mean, could Anthony Fowler, would you be confident to say he could beat someone like a Bentley? I'm not quite sure. Or Linus Udofia? Not convinced about that either. So before we talk like names like Felix Cash and Chris Eubank Jr. or Liam Williams, he's got to go through that for me. I almost feel like he will jump those because he has the name value and he's fighting on a big platform, but I'm not quite sure about 160 with him because, again, there are killers in that division, but he is big for the weight. He's clearly strong for the weight as well, so we'll see what he can do. Fight of the night, without a doubt, Jordan Gill versus Karim Guerfi for the European featherweight title. Fuck me. I mean, that fight had absolutely everything. I could do a whole video just on that fight. I really could. Jordan Gill started fast. And I was like, oh, like, to be fair, look, Karim Guerfi, obviously I was doing my research before, and the 5 defeats that Karim's had has been at a lower weight class. So people were looking at the 5 defeats and the fact that Lee McGregor stopped him. I have no idea how this Karim Guerfi made bantamweight. But anyway, those were his defeats at the lower weights. So I knew at the higher weight, more hydrated, he'll be okay. And he was. So Jordan Gill tried to land on him, like, flurry of punches, and he was taking them. And I was thinking, God, like, this could be over quickly. Jordan Gill's getting through with a couple of shots, but it was almost like he was playing possum. This is a guy that knows how to fight the 12-round distance. He won the title by split decision going 12 rounds. So I thought, okay, and then he started to land on Jordan Gill. Jordan clearly didn't like it. Jordan Gill didn't have no defense for that big left hook all the time. Like, big left hooks were winding up, and then he hurt Jordan. And there was some interesting advice from Dave Coldwell. I was watching the fight, so I had my earplugs in, and then I took him out. But then I thought I wanted to hear what the commentary was saying and what Dave Coldwell was saying. So I put him back in, and Dave Coldwell was like, look, your legs have gone. Just stay in the corner. If you don't stay in the corner, obviously, he comes to the center of the ring, his legs are going to go, he's going to go down again, which was good advice. So he was standing in the corner, and every time he looked like his legs were going to go, the ropes were keeping him up. And then, before the knockout, fucking Guerfi put him in a DDT and I was like, this is nuts. And then he landed a punch from the gods. And that's what it was, because I thought the ref And I also thought Dave Calder was looking at stopping the fight. I really did. Andy Lee on comms was like, stop it, save him. Like his face was getting bashed up. Guerfi was just having fun. And then he landed a right hand. And I was like, oh my God. And the place just lost it. It really did. Again, the Poles in there, the Polish fans were incredible. They didn't have a dog in the fight, but they were screaming as well. But I did feel sorry for Guerfi. I really did. Just because it looked like this was going to be a big win for him. He looked like it was, at some stage, going to be a comfortable win for him. He looked really good, to the point where I feel like there needs to be a rematch. I think Guerfi deserves a rematch, but we'll see. We'll see. Dave Caldwell, and I asked I asked Tony Belly, should there be a rematch? He was like, fuck that. Why fight him again? So we'll see what Jordan Gill does and who his first defence is. A quick word on Galal Yafai, Carlos Bautista. Obviously, first fight for Galal Yafai in the professional ranks. Look good. Look, the flyweight division's frightening. It really is. It's frightening. Like, Carlos Bautista is a good fighter, but he's 10-5 for a reason. Don't get me wrong, for Galal Yafai to fight someone even with that record in his first fight in a 10-rounder is no joke. So it clearly shows that Galal Yafai is ready to go. But that next stage to world level is horrendous. It really is. I mean, flyer or super flyer, but Galal Yafai is one of the most talented amateurs we've had in a long time. So he should be ready for that next level in a few fights. There's no need to rush him. There isn't. Let's see what he can do for the rest of 2022. Get used to that 10-round, 12-round distance. And then 2023, let's see if we can put him with the big boys. Let's see. Obviously, the fight to make over here is him versus Sonny Edwards. That's the fight they to make. All right, let's talk about Lawrence Okolie. Michal Cieślak. I kept getting his name wrong because it looks like Michael Cieślak, but I've been told it's Michal Cieślak. What did you guys make of the performance? I want to be brutally honest and say, look, it wasn't Okolie's best performance. I think Okolie knows this as well. Far too much holding, not enough variation. Maybe got too used to that 1-2 down the pipe where he sets it up with the jab, and it is a very good jab, and then the big right hand. But it just looked messy. It looked really, really messy. And it reminded me a bit of his performance from Askin, the Matty Askin days. And we feel like, or he should be beyond that now. He's been with Shane McGuigan for, I think this was his 6th fight camp. And you would hope that would have got that out of him. Like, the one criticism of Okolie over the years is that when he gets inside, he doesn't know what to do, so he holds. And I've always defended him, saying that he's going to grow out of that, he's going to get better, and you watch him now. And, and I guess the problem is we haven't seen if he's got out of that because he's been blasting his opponents out of there. So we've not really seen. And against Cieślak, that was a perfect opportunity to show everyone, because a lot of the detractors, that he is now a full round all boxer. He can do a bit of everything. And I think yesterday we showed that there is still a lot of work to be done with Lawrence Okolie. In saying that, he won the fight. I mean, it wasn't comfortable. He had some tough rounds in there, but he won the fight against a world level operator. Let's not forget, Cieślak's only lost once, and that was to Makabu, the current WBC champion. That was for the vacant belt in Makabu's backyard. So this is a good fighter. I don't want people to not know the name and think that Cieślak isn't a good fighter. Cieślak's a good fighter, but Lawrence Okolie had opportunity to do better yesterday, and he didn't take him, was rushing his work. I felt like he came out so fast, and I don't know if that was to try and impress or get the respect from the Polish audience, and maybe impress the likes of Adesanya and AJ that were ringside, who done the ring walk with him. But yeah, I just want to see a more variation. Like, there was times when Cieślak was coming in head down, surely take a step back and land that uppercut, maybe a step to the side and land the hooks. It just looked like he was just doing that and then landing that big right hand all the time. And I was like, come on, Lawrence, man. This guy's starting to work you out with that, to the point where then the guy works him out, comes underneath and holds, or Lawrence holds. And there was no inside work. Like, he's got to get better on that inside work. Like, AJ is very good on it. Like, AJ, when you get inside, AJ throws to the body viciously. And as you're coming out, AJ throws that uppercut. He needs a bit of that. He needs a bit. I mean, we had Marius Bradis with us, who was wearing a Super Mario outfit. Go figure. But anyway, we had him in studio with us, and we were watching the fight with him from the studio. And I'm not joking, he was looking at Lawrence like, yes, you're big and strong, but this ain't tough work for me. That's what he was looking. Obviously, once you're in there with Lawrence, it's a different thing altogether. But obviously, Bradis is the #1 cruiserweight on the planet. And I don't think he was scared at all. I really don't. So look, they're going to need to get back to the gym and just work on that. Because, you know what it is, yeah? He's very, very lucky, Lawrence. And look, I'm a big Lawrence Okolie fan. I am, because I think there's so much there. But he's very lucky that that wasn't a British crowd in there. And what I mean is that I think they would have started booing. Like, I think the Polish made it seem like it was a better fight than it was, because they were screaming throughout the whole 12 rounds. I think if that was a British crowd who are used to the Okolie of old, the Matty Askins, the Isaac Chamberlain fights, they would have been like, oh, fuck, here we go again. So I think Okolie will watch that back and know there's a lot to work on. In saying that, again, I mean, I think it does make it look relatively easy, Okolie. Like, he never really looks in trouble, does he? Cieślak landed 3 or 4 big right hands, but Okolie took him well. I'm happy to see that, by the way, as well. Like, I wanted to see what Okolie can do when he gets smacked back by someone that clearly has power as well. Like, Cieślak has power, has got a good knockout record himself, and Okolie seems to be able to take him. So those are some benefits to it. But yeah, overall, not a good performance from Lawrence Okolie, but in the end, him defending his title is the biggest thing. It looks like a heavyweight jump's coming soon if he doesn't get the unifications. It'll probably come by the end of the year. Artur Szpilka was there, former cruiserweight, fought Derek Chisora. Do you remember that? When Derek Chisora stopped him with a massive right hand. That's a name, maybe, as your first fight at heavyweight. But look, well done to Lawrence Okolie. I think that's his 5th or 6th Polish fighter that he's beat now. So they're not happy. They're not happy. And I'm sure that Szpilka will jump at the opportunity to take him on. But yeah, Lawrence Okolie does need to be better. Guys, I've not watched the Chris Colbert fight. I know Chris Colbert got beat by Garcia. I've not watched it, so I can't comment on it. And I've not watched the Victor Postal fight as well. Gary Russell beat him, but I've not watched that. So look, yeah, we'll watch those, and then we'll probably do something in the week, kind of like a catch-up or a roundup. All right, guys, peace and love.